hey, everybody, this is Pastor Brook from Bear Creek United Methodist Church, and I have the privilege today of talking to Spencer Boyer, another one of our graduates. Great to see you, Spencer. He's at his home, and so we're Zooming. And Spencer, it's so great to see you, and can you just share with me a little bit, for people who might not know you that well, just a little bit about yourself and your family for us?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm Spencer, if you didn't know my name. I'm turning 18, or I've turned 18, and I'm going to WSU this year, hopefully, if things go well, if things, continue to reopen and things go back to normal.
Exactly.
My family's lived at this log cabin. It's made out of logs.
Yes.
It's good for, years, and I couldn't imagine ever moving until I have to. So,
yeah. Well, that place for Bear Creek, a lot of people know that place. A lot of covenant meetings there, and a lot of meetings, all sorts of things. Youth meetings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a big house. It's like that. It's like that song. What is it? It's a big, big house with lots and lots of room. Yeah,
it is definitely. It has that spirit to it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, Spencer. Just about growing up in the Spencer household. What's that like?
Well, there's always stuff that's happening. As a kid, you're never really bored because they had Melissa and Joe, right? And then they're just like, well, 2 kids isn't enough. We need to get 3. There's always got to be something happening. So I think one of the funnest things about growing up here is just that I always had a friend, someone to play with.
Sure.
It was never really boring unless I made it boring.
Well, you are not a boring kid. You're very creative. You're an adult now, but you're very creative. Tell us a little bit about some of the creative endeavors you've been. I mean, because you're very musical and do all sorts of things.
Right. Well, a couple years ago, I had gotten into voice lessons. I had been singing for a long time, but, I just wanted to actually know what I'm doing and how to make it know how to make it sound better. So that's definitely been one of my most fun creative experiences, just music in general.
You bet. Yeah. And what's a song or two you just have loved singing? Because I know you've done a lot.
There's a lot from A Star Is Born, that movie. I could say almost every song from that movie is just it's perfect. Yeah.
It is. That's a great movie too.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack, yeah. So, and Spencer, you've been so you're thinking about going to Washington State, or that's kind of your hope, all right? And what do you hope to study there?
If music really doesn't work out, I was thinking music theory. But if that really doesn't work out, if I'm not too interested, I would like to do a lot of I'd like to get into social work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
A job where I can really just kind of work with people.
Yeah, you're definitely a people person, and you've done a lot of people kind of things with our church. You worked with our youth a lot. You've worked in in the nursery, and so tell us a little bit about that kind of working in the nursery and what's that like, and whether that was a cool thing or not. Or don't say that.
I can remember when I first wanted to really join the nursery, but I was a little too young to take care of any of the kids there. I would just kind of hang out there and be there anyways, because there'd be Sophia or Haley there or Megan there. It's already enough people, and eventually at some point, Heather asks me, would you like to work in the nursery? So I'm like, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so much energy almost all the time in there. It's constantly, it's like a bunch of bouncy balls just kind of bouncing in one room, and you have to grab all of them, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about you, Spencer, the other day as just how you've grown. I remember going to the first trip to Honduras with you, and then going to the second trip, and just how you tried to, you started to take over some leadership roles there in that second trip. Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about that. I mean, you really are wanting to kind of move into that leadership in some respects.
Yeah. I really liked that opportunity. I wasn't even sure that I was going to be the one doing it until we really got there.
Right.
And, it's nice to have, that kind of responsibility. It makes you feel like, useful in a different way than just, participating.
You bet. Yeah, it's kind of like being a hired hand and actually being, trusted to do something.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just like making sure that everyone's on the same page too. Because when that happens, it's just like, it was just easier when everyone's together.
You bet. And you did a great job. And for those of you who weren't on that trip, Spencer really took on kind of the work with the children that we were doing, and he kind of helped organize all that, put it all together, so we had a kind of cohesive experience, and they did too. So it was great.
You can thank Ellen for that too. She did a lot of work.
Yeah, no doubt she did. She does all the underwork, and not just all of that, but she does a lot. Right. And then you're Spencer. You've also, like in the summers, you've worked for the United Methodist Camping System. So tell us a little bit about that experience. I mean, at the camp.
At the camp. Okay, yeah, Indianola. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
Sorry.
I was like, what? Oh gosh, that's probably like the most experience. Like that's just like the best place on earth, to be honest. I don't know, like, why you wouldn't want your kids to go to that camp. Like, it's just like a place where it's complete safety, and like, basically you're friends with everyone by the end of the week that you're there. Like, it's just it's impossible to not. It's impossible to like just like be mad there, especially like it's impossible to be hateful there, really.
Yeah.
Which is why there's all these other places for like, friendship or like, trust to like grow a lot better than anywhere else, really.
You bet.
So it's one of my favorite places on earth. I don't know why people wouldn't want to go there.
You've been at that camp. You've gone to the high school camp or a camp like that as a participant for how many years? I think since the beginning of your second grade, I would almost venture to say.
I went a lot as a kid, and then I stopped going as a kid because the part of me that didn't like people telling me what to do with always clash with other people. So I started going back when I was going into freshman year of high school. But it was after that year that I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna keep going like every summer.
Yeah. And it's really been fun. You've even had some of that camp come to church a couple times, if I remember right.
Yeah. I love it when people outside, especially from camp, come and say hi, because they do live kind of close. Camponi or Stephanie, she's in Snohomish. No, she's in I don't know where she is, but yeah, it's really fun to have them come over and say hi.
Yeah. What would you say? I mean, you talk about that safe place that camp is. What would you say or is there other things that you might have taken out of that working in camp, particularly working in that situation for United Methodist Camp or for Indianola? How has that helped you grow? Do you think
Well, I mean, the summer that I had worked there as an LIT, I will say it's one of the most experience-filled summers I've had. I definitely got to learn what college students are like. They can't keep a room clean. So that's part of it.
Yeah.
But I guess the part that I took away really was, how to work with people, like just on a different level. I've always been interested in communicating with people and like, why are problems and how do we solve them? Where did they come from? And it's like, why is it different for everyone else? So, when a kid has a temper tantrum, to know how to deal with that, it's like, it's really refreshing, and it's like really rewarding too.
Yeah. Well, it is that kind of, you're in a kind of servant role too, right? I mean,
Right.
you're cleaning, cleaning
Hmm.
houses, or the little cabins, and doing
Right.
all that. But then you're dealing with people who have difficult issues going on, and you're trying to.
Right.
It's a great learning place. That's such a
Hmm.
cool thing, and I have seen a lot of growth in you from that kind of that LIT moment on.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And there's like it's like, these, a lot of these kids are coming outside, and everyone has what they're dealing with and they're bringing to camp, kind of,
You bet.
and it's like our job to kind of beat it out of them like throughout the week, like, come on, like, you don't have to talk about what home's like, but make this a time so that you have something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah.
At
Well, you
least
get, I
with
think you
these
get
people.
enough time to surround them with a different community. Then
Right. Right.
that does affect them eventually, that kind of community of grace, or that safe kind of
Right.
sanctuary thought. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
so Spencer, you have so many wonderful gifts. I think it would be just hard, if I were you, to make a decision, like where to go to college, and
Oh, yeah.
make a decision on what to do in college, because you could go a lot of different ways. Is that hard for you?
Right now, I mean, I think it's harder even with the coronavirus too. Like,
Mm,
there's so much I am uncertain of,
mm,
like what's going to happen, whether I'm going to be living in dorms, whether I'm going to be taking a gap year or not.
mm.
I am as unsure as, the next person. It's scary. It's harder to make that choice, though. It's very,
Yeah,
very much harder. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I can totally understand that. What what would you ask from our church as they pray for you, as you go through this transition, trying to figure all this out, hopefully going to Washington State, but not sure whether they're even going to have class, or how that's going to happen. I mean, what kind of prayers would be good for you, or how could we pray for you?
Um, I kind of just pray that things go smoothly. Really, I would really like things to go back to normal, because when that happens, people can start working on themselves again. I can't worry about so many things because I have my mind somewhere else.
Sure.
So
Oh, that's
just
true.
hopefully things go back to normal.
Sure, sure.
Right.
And then just kind of to finish this off, by the way, great job. Thank you for sharing so
Yeah, no
much.
problem.
But can you share with us just a little bit about what Bear Creek United Methodist Church has meant for you as you walk through your life so
Yeah.
far?
Um, I never really been a very churchy guy, I guess. I never considered myself that, but that church, it's so open. It's really open to a lot of things that maybe other religions might not be open to.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so when it's like having a friend that can understand you. It's like it's no matter what their beliefs are, as long as they can understand you and maybe try and see where you're coming from, that's a person I can call a friend any day. So it's like Bear Creek United Methodist. They look for understanding,
Yeah.
and I think that's any
Huh.
person is worthy of a friend like that. So I think Bear Creek has been such a big part of my life, and I just sometimes I don't really realize it, but like the friends I made there, Sophia, Haley, like there's so many people. It's just so
Yeah,
it's
well,
great.
and you've been a huge part of who we are, Spencer.
Hmm.
A lot of people follow you and get excited about it. So I hope
Yeah,
you know that even though you might be going off to college or whatever happens here in the next year, that our church is with you, and cheering you on in any way we can help. And if you ever need to call or need somebody to talk to, we've got people that would more than love to do that, Spencer. And I just thank you for who you are and who you becoming And I want you to know that, we're cheering you on, man. Hang in there.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Bear Creek, this is Pastor Brook, and I am so excited. I have Josie Walsh here on Zoom, and I'm going to interview her. She's graduating this year, and it's kind of a bummer, partly because she does so many things in the church, and we love her personality and her spirit. But also because we aren't really able to do our graduation service in public. So we're going to be doing it online. And so I've decided I was going to interview these wonderful people and see if you can get to know them a little bit. And I know you know, but maybe even know more about Josie. So, hi, Josie. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're doing awesome over here. Getting a little stir crazy at home, but we've been doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. It's not easy, I'm sure. So tell me a little bit, Josie, for some people that may not know you that well, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are and your family and maybe the school you go to now in high school.
Sure. Okay, so yeah, my name's Josie. I am a senior and I'm just about to graduate. The high school that I go to right now is Bear Creek School, and it's in Redmond, and it's a private Christian school. I've been there actually since kindergarten, so I've been going there for over a decade, which is crazy. My little brother also goes there, so that's pretty awesome. But we live in Duval, and we've been going to this church for ever since I was a baby, and it's always been kind of like a second family to us. So we love being a part of it and the community. And my family is pretty awesome. We have, so there's 6 of us. I have 3 other brothers, and 2 of them are older, and 1 of them is younger. And yeah, that's basically.
Well, can you tell me just about your family? I know you have a good relationship with your family. I think you do anyway. Tell me just some of the, maybe at one positive attribute of like your mom and dad and your brothers.
Sure. I would say, well, my mom and I are very similar. And so I would say we share a lot of attributes, but I especially love just her caring nature. She's always been so nurturing and so awesome in that way. And then my dad is definitely a goofball, and I love being around him. He's got a contagious laugh and awesome personality. And then I would say my oldest brother Damon is he's incredibly smart, and I've always admired him for that. And then I would say Zachary and I get along very well. And he's also very goofy, very fun loving, and the environment. And I love when he gets passionate about that and talks to me about it. And then Grady he's 10, but I would say, yeah, he's got some admirable qualities too. He's definitely, I would say, he's very mature for his age, which I find that very admirable. But he's super funny. He's a funny little dude. I love being around him.
One of the things, Josie, I was thinking about with your family is you've kind of gotten into oysters, right? If I'm not mistaken. And maybe you could tell, didn't you write a song or something about oysters with your ukulele or something?
Oh, well, okay. That's funny because I haven't thought about that in a while. But yes, so my dad is technically an oyster farmer, and which is kind of fun. And we're all kind of part of it. And I don't actually remember the song, but I do remember when we went to go visit the oysters. I brought my ukulele because we were at the beach, and it was just a perfect place to like kick back and play some music. And I think I started just like putting together a little jingle, and he was like, "I'm gonna keep that." I'm like, "Okay." Yes, well, I have a song.
Yeah, well, and I'm interested in the ukulele because your dad has a song about, or a story about ukulele that's very meaningful to him in his faith journey. Is that maybe why you picked it up, or did you just pick it up on your own?
It's actually really funny because I didn't know too much about that story until I had kind of gotten into playing it.
Hmm.
And so I didn't realize how much it meant to my dad until he told me a little while in, after I'd gotten a little bit better at it. And then it meant even more knowing that story and being able to play it around the house, because it's just a little gentle reminder of that awesome story.
Yeah, cool.
Him and my grandpa. So,
Yeah.
but it's definitely one of my favorite hobbies is playing the ukulele. It's so fun.
Good. Are you going to take it to college? You're going to give it a shot
Oh,
there?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, tell us a little bit about college and how you made the choice of where you're going, or tell us first where you're going to go.
Sure. Okay, so I am going to, this fall, I'm going to Texas Christian University, and it's
Wow.
Worth, Texas, which is really exciting. I've never moved. I've never done anything crazy like that. So it's going to be a huge change, but I'm very excited. And I would say it was really, really a tough decision. I think I only applied to a few schools, but the ones that I did apply to, I loved all of them. And so, but for very different reasons. And
Mhm.
so comparing them was really hard for me. And I think when it came down to it, the things that I love most about my school would probably be, I love the size of it and the community, and I love the school spirit, and I love the location. I really did love visiting that part of Texas.
Mhm.
And I was really inspired to go to a Christian university. And that's something that really drove my decision. And then, and they also, obviously, my dad's going to get mad at me if I don't mention, they have great academics. They are so great. He always
Yes.
laughs when I do that. He's like,
Yeah.
"I
Well,
mentioned
yeah,
strong."
and one of the things that I admired when you were looking for a college is that faith-based, that faith issue for you was a pretty big piece. Can you tell us just a little bit about why that's important to you?
Yeah, I think I always love places where I feel like I can be uplifted by my faith, and I can be around other people that that share that same heart for the Lord, and they want to also pursue that faith with me. So I've always felt really comfortable and accepted in those kind of environments, which is why I love like clubs like Young Life, where I was a leader for a few years. And I loved being involved in youth group, and I love being involved in there's this group called Prayer Squad at my school, which
No.
sounds kind of, but we meet in that group, and I just love those kinds of places. And I really am looking forward to being able to kind of have those conversations with my professors as well, in all of the subjects that I'll be studying in college.
Right. Right.
And yeah, so I would say that's
Okay.
probably why it was important to me.
Sure. Sure. And so now, as you, a couple of things I think it's very interesting for me because you've asked me to kind of be a part of it, but you're writing a devotional book kind of for one of your senior projects at your school. Can you tell us a little bit about how that journey has gone? What is it, 3 weeks worth of devotions? And they're
Yes.
written for like your age or for, yes?
Right.
Yeah.
So it has been a really fun journey, and it's been super interesting. And it just so happened that with all the COVID stuff, that my project didn't require me to be super plugged into the community. So it was more just like a personal study. So that was really helpful during this time. But yeah, so it's a 3-week long devotional, and it's specifically made for high school graduates that are about to go into college. And it's all about just kind of strengthening your relationship with God, and working on getting ready for that big change, and knowing that that God's got a plan and everything like that. So it's really awesome. And basically, I've obviously been communicating with you
Yes,
about
you have.
advice and feedback on my notes.
All my sermons are based on your devotionals lately.
Yeah. Credits to me always.
Yes.
But yeah, so I would make sure that I was reaching out to you that I was, getting all the good information from the Bible. And I would take topics that I think were really important for new college students, like doubt or fear or stress or relationships, community, like all those things. And then I would find places in the Bible where God talks about them, and then create a devotional that would help guide the reader. So I would write that, and then write a small little prayer, and then and then on the following page I put 2 Bible verses to kind of like meditate on and read through, and then some journaling space. So the person can write down their thoughts and their
Now,
prayer.
and Josie, is this something all seniors do in your school, or is this something you just picked as your project?
So this was all my doing. I chose this one as my senior project. All of my classmates chose their own. It's very open-ended, which is super awesome. And it's really exciting because I'm actually shipping some copies this weekend. So
yeah, I was even asking your mother to, I'll ask you that maybe we could use it in our church, and maybe see that after you get it published, maybe, or something. But as you went through that process, what did you learn anything about yourself or about your own personal journey with God, or with how, what give me an idea just to kind of went through your brain as you went through that.
I definitely noticed that when I was spending more time like diving into the Word and praying and working through Scripture, I just felt afterward, like after I was done with the research portion and I was just working on like the design and everything, I missed that. Like I missed having that time. So it kind of inspired me to keep going in that direction.
Doing that. Yeah. Very, very cool. You kind of did you come up with those scriptures yourself, or did you kind of do some referencing, or were those kind of your own diggings?
Yeah. So there's the Bible that I have, it's the She Reads Truth Bible. It's my favorite one. And it has like a topical index in the back, and I would use references. And then sometimes I'd have a hard time like getting scripture. And so I would go to a Bible commentary and do some research there.
Yeah, some of those are a little bit of a stretch occasionally. When they pick one of those out, you'll find, yes. Well, that is cool, and it tells us a lot about who you are, Josie, and you have this strong kind of sense of calling on your life, I think. And I wondered, you've done some things in the church too. I mean, you've always been so helpful, but you've worked with kids a lot. You've helped us with Vacation Bible School a lot. With this COVID-19, tell me a little bit about what have you learned kind of spiritually through that, do you think? Just walking through this strange time we're in.
I think something that I've learned about myself is that it's really easy to trust God and to put your faith in Him when everything's going well and there are no hiccups in the road, and it's super easy, because now like things are constantly moving and changing, and it's even harder to like surrender that and give that trust to God. I think that's something that I've been learning a lot.
Yeah, we'll be keep learning on that one. It's a lifelong adventure for us. So then I wanted to ask you, we'll go more into church in a little bit, but college, what do you plan to do? Do you have some thoughts about, where God's leading you in that direction and what to do in college?
Yeah, I think I have a couple interests that I feel are really pulling me right now. The first one, I love studying biology, and I love studying all kinds of stuff like that. I definitely love science. It would definitely be a dream to become a doctor one day. But yeah, we'll see. And then thing that's also kind of tugging on me too is French, because I love studying French, and I've been studying it for a few years now. And so to maybe teach French one day, be a professor or something like that would be also interesting. I definitely want to study abroad at some point, or travel to Europe and have the chance to kind of be immersed in that culture, because I haven't ever been to Europe, and that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, it would be fun. That's exciting. That's cool stuff. Well, I know this may be the first semester here. It might be a little strange for you, and different, but I think you're gonna have a great time in college. I think you're gonna
Yeah.
kick it out of the park. That's gonna be great. So knock it out. You're gonna do great. So, and then before you leave us, just tell us a little bit about Bear Creek and what Bear Creek has meant for you and your relationship with the church, and what that's meant to you as you've gone through high school and go off to college.
I'd say, kind of like what I said at the beginning of our interview, I think it's basically been a family for me. I think I've grown up in that, like I've spent so much of my childhood and early adulthood just kind of growing up in that church, and I think there's so many people in that church, most of them that I would count as, people that I can really trust and that I love, and that I'm really, really going to miss going off to college because they really are like family.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's just crazy to think that I've experienced so many of my milestones of life that I've, already been through while going to that church. And yeah, I've always felt so safe there, and just, I've always felt so welcome and encouraged there. So I've just always found it to be such like a positive and uplifting environment for me. And a place that has really helped grow my faith personally too.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Sure. And one of the things I want to say to you, Josie, is, we don't want to stop being your church. We want to reach out to you in college, and we want you to know that we'll be praying for you and pulling for you and cheering you on. And one last question I have for you. Do you have how can we pray for you as you go off to college? What are some things that you would ask us to pray for?
Ooh, that's a great question. I say, I would love prayers just for helping me acclimate to the new environment, because obviously, like, moving is scary and I'm gonna feel really homesick, I know. So I would love prayers for strength in those moments where I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to go home and this is really scary and hard. So I would love prayers in that sense. And I think also I would love prayers for being able to find a solid community that I can be a part of. And whether that's in Young Life, I really would like to find a place there, or in any other club or community or something like that, that uplift me. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And just know we're pulling for you. This was fantastic. And I appreciate it so much, Josie.
Great.
All right. I'm going to sign off here. Curt Nelson. And Curt is one of our graduates. He's going to graduate this year and move on to college. And so I thought I would try to catch up with him and see how he's doing, and get to know him a little bit. So, Curt, tell us just a little bit about, your family and a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I'm graduating from Cedar Crest High School this year, which is out in Duval. And then I'm going to be going to the University of Washington at the Foster School of Business.
Cool.
As a direct admission, yeah. In high school, I played a lot of baseball. I caught 4 years, or would have been 4 years on varsity as a catcher. And I wrestled and played football as well, but stopped those by my sophomore year. I did DECA, which is kind of a business club. And I was a link officer, which is like a club to orientate freshmen into high school. And then I also was in an honor society as well. Outside of school, I like to be outside. I like to go for hikes. I like to snowboard, skateboard. I like to be active. I'm also pretty big into weightlifting. And then, yeah.
So tell me, stop right there. Weightlifting.
Yep.
What, more benching or squats, or what's your deal?
So probably 2 years ago now, we have like an extra building at our house, and we built a low room out there, so it's got a full squat rack and a bench rack. And so I pretty much do everything. I squat, deadlift, bench press, everything. Yeah.
Do you do that with friends or your dad?
So normally I have a buddy that comes up pretty much every day, but since quarantine he hasn't been up, so I've been doing it by myself. My dad helps me spot me sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, tell us a little bit about your family. Oh, wait. Before we go there, you're going to go to UW, and you kind of went pretty quick there. You got into a particular school at UW that's hard to get into.
Yeah, the Foster School of Business. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get in there?
I don't know. Well, I applied, and I guess they liked my essay, they liked my grades, and they liked my SAT scores. So
Okay.
that's pretty much the whole application. So
Yeah,
that
because
must have done
there's only like 100 or 200 that get in that a year. Is that right?
200 freshman direct admissions. Yeah, and then more will join after sophomore year.
Sure. Wow.
But I get a little like head start, I guess, with some of the classes. Yeah.
Wow, you must be excited about that. Were you more excited to get into UW or get into the Foster School?
Definitely to get into the Foster. I was very excited about both, but the Foster School is the more exciting part for me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And tell me a little bit about UW. Why UW? Because you checked out quite a few other schools.
At the end of the day, I mean, pretty much since I've always had like a good idea about UW, and I've always like thought it was a cool school and thought I wanted to go there someday. So when I started looking, we did all the tours and all of them were nice, but at the end of the day, I knew I wanted to go to UW. So the way they announced, all the other schools I applied to, I heard back early, but UW was they have a long time before they tell you if you get in. So it kind of built this anticipation of like, oh, I really want to go here, but I'm getting nervous. I don't even get in. Yeah.
I remember talking to you, wondering, hey, when is this going to happen? So you were right. Yeah. They finally came through. And I know for you, Curt, your family is pretty important to you, or it seems like it is. And so tell me a little bit just about your family, and maybe just tell me one thing about each one of your family members that you like. So
okay. Well, I'll start with my dad. He's been always the strong figure in my life. He's taught me how to work hard. He's taught me how to be respectful. He's taught me how to be everything, be a man, be a good person. So I respect that about him. And then my mom, she's just amazing. She makes the best food in the world. She teaches me so much. She taught me all of third grade. I was in third grade, but she had to teach me it on the side. Oh yeah. And then because of teachers, but and then let's see, my sister, I respect how much she cares about me and other people too. It's cool to see she's always giving gifts, and she's always worried about her friends and worried about me. And it's just cool to see. It's cool to look at somebody like that. And then I also have a dog, which he's an old dog now, but he's been the best thing in my life.
Yeah. What's your dog's name?
His name's Gus.
Okay.
He's a yellow lab.
You gonna bring Gus along to college?
No, he's gonna be living at home. He's sleeping at home, and that's pretty much it.
We have one of those too. Yes. All right, Curt. Thanks so much, and I appreciate you so much for sharing. And I just want you to know we'll be praying for you and pulling for you. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.